Active portrayals are some of the best parts of video games. The technology of being able to recreate a face almost identical is pretty impressive, and I love seeing the cross between live action media and gaming. We all have our favorite ones from over the years, so today we're going to talk about what I think some of the best ones are. Before we get into the actual list though, I want to add some honorable mentions of some appearances that were either brief or have long been forgotten. Crackdown is a series that has long been forgotten, but in Crackdown 3 the most memorable part was Terry Crews being the face of the game. Starring as Commander Jackson, the player could traverse the city as one of the most high-energy actors in media at the time. Terry Crews always brings excitement, action, and comedy to his roles, and Crackdown 3 was no different. Although his appearance was brief, Conan O'Brien plays a small part in Death Stranding. O'Brien still maintains his comedic personality in the game, even in such a dark atmosphere in the post-apocalyptic world. He always tried to make Sam Porter laugh, but never succeeded. The character he plays, the Wandering MC, wasn't very important. I just thought it was a cool Easter egg if the player was able to catch on. It wasn't necessarily a one-to-one spitting image of this character, but Sean Bean plays the part of Emperor Martin Septim in Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Martin Septim's appearance was often short, but he was a very important character in the game, portrayed perfectly by Sean Bean. Okay, let's jump into the actual list.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Metal Gear Solid is one of the most iconic series of all time. For most of the game, Snake is voiced by David Hayter. In Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, however, Venom Snake is voice acted and facial captured by Kiefer Sutherland. Kojima wanted someone who could do facial expressions, and however he felt about the character, Sutherland did an amazing job. Most of Snake's persona throughout the entire series is just a cold stare, but with the help of mocapping, Kiefer Sutherland changes the narrative just a little bit. Combine this with the already badass character of Snake, and you get some pretty cool moments.
You lose, Commander.
Execute my responsibilities. Try not to move, it'll only make things worse.
Fuck you!
The Callisto Protocol was not a great game to say the least. After a long wait for a new game to give the classic Dead Space feel, it dropped the ball in many ways. Regardless, Josh Duhamel as Jacob Lee played the part of being stuck on a mutant-infested moon jail very well. Not being just a pretty face, he portrays the fear and stress in every scene, and really makes the player feel like they're taking part in the horror. When it comes to a game where atmosphere is everything, Duhamel creates the immersion with dynamic facial expressions and high-energy action, making players experience encounters that are too close for comfort. Duhamel has also made another video game appearance in the Call of Duty World War II as Sergeant William Pearson.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Keanu Reeves has one of the most notable and famous appearances in gaming of the last few years. Starring as Johnny Silverhand, Reeves was basically the face of the entire advertising campaign. It was enjoyable seeing Keanu be excited to play this part and really make it his own, instead of someone else just cashing in on another role. Silverhand always has different behavioral attitudes depending on the choices the player makes, and Reeves plays each one of those so well, and one could say it was even made for him. Keanu Reeves always plays the perfect character of the cool and calm person that can pop off when the time comes. John Wick and Neo are his most well-known roles of this persona. Except this time Silverhand is full of witty one-liners and sarcastic remarks in any situation.
My name is Sam Porter Bridges. It's my job to reconnect us.
Norman Reedus plays the part of Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding, and while he's not a man of many words, he does a great job portraying his emotions through body language and facial expressions. This role was a big change from his most well-known one as Daryl Dixon in the hit show The Walking Dead. His roles in both TV series and video games have some similarities, but I think it would be harder to portray more emotion while being mocapped instead of live action. Sam Bridges is actually full of Normanisms throughout the game. Scratching his face or patting his hands on his lap were just a few of the natural things Norman Reedus did in between shooting that were caught on camera and added to the game. Norman's character occasionally breaks the fourth wall in his room between missions, punching the camera or flicking off the audience. I found Reedus' role very enjoyable in Death Stranding, and I'm excited to see him in the sequel.
Nice place.
You know who I am?
One of the best parts of God of War Ragnarok was the reveal of Thor and Odin. The first game had a big lead up to them finally making an appearance, so there was a lot of pressure to deliver the hype of the gods. I think Santa Monica hit the mark using Richard Schiff and Ryan Hurst as Odin and Thor respectively. I hadn't seen Schiff in any previous roles, but I always had this feeling while playing that Thor looked familiar. Ryan Hurst has had several movie roles, but his most notable was from the TV show Sons of Anarchy. Hurst displayed the rage and raw emotion of Thor perfectly throughout the entire game, and Schiff played the part of a cunning and dangerous Odin just as well.
And your boy, Allfather, has plans for him. There he is. There's the god of war.
Now, while he didn't look exactly like Kratos, I want to add Christopher Judge to this list too. Judge's body was used as the model of Kratos as well as the voice acting. As far as the perfect role for actors go, I really don't think that there's a better match than this.
Well, Silence, looks like you finally found a door you could open without me.
I'm glad it's there, actually. It kept me from having to mingle with the company you keep. But enough prattle. I believe you owe me an explanation. Your plans for the Zenith base?
Lance Reddick has played many roles throughout his career, his most recent being Charon in John Wick. Reddick also plays the role of Silence in the Horizon series. Silence was a key part in the series, being the anti-hero to Aloy, most of the time just helping his own self-interest. As the game progresses, more layers of Silence are revealed, and Reddick brings the character to life every step of the way. Reddick's distinct accent is Silence's most memorable feature. His style of speaking makes for a character that no one else can replicate. Unfortunately, Lance Reddick passed away on March 17, 2023. The direction of Silence is unclear for future Horizon games, but Guerrilla Games has added a memorial to Lance in Horizon Forbidden West for players to visit and pay their respects.
It's time for me to leave this doomed planet behind. I am grateful for your extraordinary contributions.
But he's just one man. If we lose Shepard, humanity might well follow.
Then see to it that we don't lose him.
The Elusive Man is arguably the best character in the Mass Effect series. As the head of Cerberus, he gives the players tough choices with his ice-cold personality, and Martin Sheen couldn't have been a better pick for it. For a character who always stresses that the end justifies the means, Sheen delivers the seriousness of the Elusive Man perfectly. The only problem with his performance was that players didn't get enough of him. Having his biggest role in Mass Effect 2, players were disappointed he didn't have more screen time in 3. And while he doesn't exactly look identical to the Elusive Man, the resemblance is pretty close. It's hard to really put into words how perfect this casting was, which seems to be the overall feeling of his performance from players. While I like Norman Reedus' performance in Death Stranding, I found myself a way bigger fan of Mads Mikkelsen as Clifford Unger. Not only was the story of Clifford Unger insane, but the way Mads Mikkelsen is able to portray the emotions to a T is equally insane. Sadness, sorrow, anger, and despair. All emotions that can be felt through the screen as you see this character in action. Death Stranding wasn't for everyone, and is probably the exact definition of love it or hate it. However, I would encourage you to play or even just watch it to experience the emotional roller coaster Unger and Mikkelsen put you through. When doing research for this video, I learned Mikkelsen won an award for best performance for his role as Clifford Unger. Hideo Kojima's games could be considered works of art, and Mads Mikkelsen's performance was nothing short of that either. I look forward to seeing more actors be a part of the video game space. With the increased graphics and new engines coming out, it'll be interesting to see if actors continue making appearances in games, or if the technology will surpass the need for them. Let me know what your favorite actor portrayal from this list is, or if there's any of your favorites that weren't on here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.